Hi and welcome to the Vet Story Podcast, home to the most outrageous stories told in VetMed. It's raw, it's unfiltered, unscripted, unedited, just raw, off-the-cuff stories. I'm your host, Rhys and if you're in the VetMed space in any capacity, and you have a story like this, I want to hear it. So get ready to have a laugh, eyes on the road if you're driving, close the doors, and enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of the Vet Story Podcast. I'm here with the gorgeous, the lovely, the entertaining, there were some other names I heard from the VHMA, but the wonderful Bethany Bankovic.
Yeah.
Keep saying it. I love it. I love it.
They're nice.
How are you? Very nice.
They're nice. You nailed it. No, you're doing good, Reese. I'm really happy that you invited me to talk on this. I'm pretty sure I was at a bar when I agreed to share some of my stories because that just seemed like a really at the time. I don't know if it's going to be a great idea by the time we're over this, but I signed up for it. So we're just going with it. We're just going to go.
This is going to be your first time sharing these stories on public forum, right?
Oh yeah. The world isn't ready, but we're doing it anyway.
No, we always remember our first time. This can be as special it is for me than it is for you, I'm sure.
Oh, always.
All right, let's start with number one. Do you have a dad joke? Because I'll give you one.
I don't have a dad joke. You go. No dad joke.
All right. What do you call a orphan flower?
What do you call an orphan flower?
Actually, you know what? I fucked it up. What do you call an adult orphaned flower?
I don't know now. I'm too confused.
It's self-raising.
This is why I don't know dad jokes.
All right, Bethany, tell the audience who you are. What do you do? Whereabouts are you from?
All right. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't live out there. I practice out in Lancaster. I've been in the vet field for like 17 years now. 16 of those 17, I've been managing practices, small, medium, and now a really large practice. My practice is 10 doctors, and I've been there for about 7 years. I do help with the VHMA. I'm on the board, directors now with the Veterinary Hospital Managers Association. So get to try and help write policy and things governing our association. And then I like to do like speaking engagements, right? So I'll go and speak for a number of industry partners on whatever management topics they might want. And so that's what I do in my professional life. On my personal life, a lot of fun. I travel.
You are a lot of fun. I see your what do you call it? Facebook all the time. You're just everywhere all the time. I love it.
I travel. I live life. I don't work to live. I live to work, and vice versa or whatever. But it's kind of both. I feel like you can't have, like they say, the work-life balance thing, like a seesaw, and it's not. It's all like this, because I absolutely love my work, and my work enables me to travel and stuff, but like I'll still be working when I'm traveling. Like I never really stop. Yeah. I'm just one of those people, but I still have fun. I still have fun while I'm doing it. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Now, because I know that you love to travel so much, what's your favorite place? Like the place that you go, I would go there all the time.
American Samoa.
Must see.
American Samoa.
American Samoa?
Yes.
Okay. No idea where that is.
It's near actual Samoa. So it is tiny little cluster of Pacific islands. Go to, like, if you fly out to Hawaii, it's about a 5-hour flight south, like even more like southwest, kind of going towards New Zealand. But it's teeny tiny.
Yes.
And it's like super remote. And I mean, it's like actual villages, like it's like hut villages, like, cinder block huts. But it's like the most pristine wildlife, snorkeling, diving, completely untouched coral reef that's there. So it's in its like, original state. It's not bleached. It's beautiful. So I would go there in a heartbeat anytime anyone ever got me. It's the coolest place I've ever been to. One of the most remote places I've ever been to. But right. Oh my God, I can't even describe the wildlife there. It's incredible.
Yeah. So I bet you can't work there then.
No, I don't even think it's possible to do remote work there, because I don't even think they have internet on the islands. I mean, maybe on Punga Punga they do, but like on the little tiny island where the national park is, the American Samoa National Park, it's this island's like Ofu. It's It's like the size of a town. It's tiny. I don't even think they have internet.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
so I guess they've missed out on the good things or the. Do they know what Apple is? Do they have cell phones? Oh, come on,
They
they have
do.
to have cell phones.
So like there's some really famous people that are from there. So like The Rock,
Yeah.
Roy Palomalu, like so football players. Like there are famous people that come from
Oh
America.
yeah.
Yeah. So but that's like the main island. I think they're mostly on Punga Punga.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Got you. All right, Beth.
Yeah.
What do you have for me today?
Get ready. So I mean, so it's so funny because I was telling people from my office, right, that I was got to be doing this kind of like let's risque type of podcast tonight where we're just kind of bearing all and telling our crazy stories. And I was asking people because I think we become like so desensitized to crazy because we're around it so often that I was having a hard time kind of like trying to recall some more recent ones for some reason. Like I was remembering a lot that happened earlier in my career. I think before, I became so like, what is it? You just become hardened by war.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much of it that it doesn't even register. So I was saying this to my staff the other day and they're like, so you're just not going to talk about the lab courier that was pissing down our storm drain 2 weeks ago in the middle of our parking lot? That wasn't even to crack the top 10. I don't think of like being able to recall like crazy. So to give you a perspective, right? So I guess it was like late at night where we have a pet resort. So we have staff there till like around 9:30 at night. And they were doing like the final rounds, walking the dogs. And to kind of so that you know who the audience was, like these are like teenage girls that got to witness this display. So these are
Yeah.
teen girls, like young college age girls. They're out there walking the dogs, getting ready, and the lab courier pulls up and he's got to go. Instead of, I guess, asking, he just decided that he would whip out his wang and just piss down the storm drain in the middle of the parking lot. And like we have lighting in our parking lot too. So it was not like it wasn't in a corner. It was not discreet. It was out in like football stadium light, shining on him as he peed down our drain. And my staff, I think, is scarred forever. Like they cannot believe that it happened. So yes, but they were just shocked that I wasn't even really going to bring that up. But here I did anyway. So
Yeah.
it's your consolation prize.
So was he in shorts or just pants?
He was in pants. Like
Ah,
was, he kind of parked the car over the drain and just got out and decided
ah,
the place to go. And I was so
yeah.
funny.
I mean,
I mentioned it.
if he was wearing shorts, at least he could have taken the knee, pulled to one side.
No, it was out. It was out and about. All the girls saw it. I don't know if it was impressive, but they definitely saw. So
So there was there was no like, 5 or
I
a
know it's
10.
cold, it's Pennsylvania. We're in the Northeast, so you know.
No, I just love it.
Oh, so I mentioned it, right, to the partners. And again, I was so desensitized to it. I was just like, oh, that's weird, right? And so the girls are like freaking out. And we're talking about it with the partners, and they're like, that guy's dedicated. The guy doesn't even stop to pee. So, like, what is his number? Kind of employee that we need. We've made quite a joke about it. And it keeps kind of coming back around because of course we had to call, we had to make a big deal. We had to call the lab and the courier service for the lab. And so my staff is like appalled that he wasn't terminated. And I was just like, guys, I don't have any control over this, right? Like this isn't my Bible. Like we told them what happened. It's up to them if they want to take it any further, but I'm not going to press it.
Love it.
All right. So,
All right. So there's our appetizer.
that was the warm up, right? That was the
That was the warm up. Okay.
this is probably every new doctor's like worst first week nightmare story ever. So we had a new doctor. We hired her to start working for us probably back in like 2019. And it was her first week of work and she was seeing a cat. It was admitted for ADR, right? So it was acting strange. Clients were concerned. And she got consent for them to take x-rays. So, okay. So we take the cat back to our x-ray room, and it's, it's a closed off room, big heavy door. We close the door and put the cat on the table. And for whatever reason, that's when the cat absolutely decided to lose its ever loving shit. So it goes completely feral and breaks free of the nurses, and they can't catch this cat, and it's just running around in circles in this room. And for a while, and it's like parkouring right off of the shelves, off of everything in there. However, I'm not sure how, but it decided that its only salvation was through the cable, the little hole in the drop ceiling where the big heavy electric cables, right, like the for our x-ray unit, go to our utility room. And this hole, I mean, it's like barely bigger than a quarter. So this cat Gales like actually climbs this cord, this cable, and busts through the ceiling tile like the fucking Kool-Aid man. It's this drop ceiling tile in half, just crushes it, like karate chops right through it. Now this cat is in our ceiling, in our drop ceiling. In our hospital, it's a big practice. It's like a 13,000 square foot hospital. So we're all like, what are we going to do? Right? Like, how are we going to get this cat out of there? So we're like climbing up there trying to see. So while this is happening, while I'm like up there trying to look at this cat, we have to tell the owners that their cat freaking ceiling.
Fun conversation.
Oh my God. And it's this doctor's first week. So she looks like she's about to just quit. like right in tears. So we don't send her in alone. So one of the partners goes in with her, and they're ready for it. Like they're ready for a beating. They're ready to just get their asses handed to them. And so they tell the owners, and these owners just bust out laughing. Like they are losing it laughing. Like they think it is the funniest thing that like one of them was like, oh yeah, it sounds like something she would do. Right. So like they are like beyond cool about this. Like they think it's the funniest thing ever. So we get the ladders out, we let them, they're calling this cat. We can't get this cat. Like this cat is like up in the behind some insulation or duct work or something up there. So we tell the owners, we're like, all right, we're gonna put a trap up there. And eventually in a couple days, her basic needs will take over. She's gonna want to eat, she's gonna want to drink, and she'll eventually go in the trap. Like that's our hope, because we're like, we don't know what else to do. This better work. So they agree to it. They think that's great. And they asked me, or they asked us, me and the partners, if it would be okay if they could come over maybe a couple times a day and maybe call her. Like maybe after she calms down, she'll be willing to come to them. And we're just like, yeah, whatever you want to do. Like, just don't sue us. Right? Like, yeah, great. So how many ladders do you need? Right? Like, we'll put them where. So they come back. They're doing this for a couple days, and we're really not like paying attention to them. We're like giving them their private time, right? To like maybe call this cat. This cat's not going in the trap. And we're like, what is this cat eating? What is this cat drinking? Like, how is this cat not in this trap yet? Because a couple days go by, like a weekend goes by, cat's still not in the trap. So the owners come back. And we stop them before they go, like, because they climb up the ladder. And we even put like a trail cam up there to see if we could like see the cat, whatever. We really are making a big deal about this because we want them to know that we're trying. So the owners are going up to call their cat again the one day. And we say to them, we're like, hey, like, we're pretty concerned, she's not eating yet. Like, it's been like 4 days. And normally by now, like she should be pretty hungry. So it should be any day now. The owner goes, oh, she's eating. So what does that mean? They've been putting food outside of the trap. Defeats the purpose.
Well, that took it out of the trap.
No, they brought their own. They were bringing their own food and putting it out the trap, leaving, coming back a few hours later, and the cans would be empty. And they would take the old dirty cans away. So bless their hearts, as they say in the South and in the Midwest, their hearts. So I don't know what conversation was harder to have. The first one, your cat's in the ceiling, or the second one, you're not very bright. So after we explained how the cat was going to go into the trap, right? Like that has to be the only food source, right? Like this is the only she's going in there. They were like, okay, that makes
You think?
oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, yeah. So within the next, I think it was by even like later on that day, we heard the whack, right, of the trap.
Okay.
Cat goes in the trap. Everything's fine. The cat's fine. People are happy. And the cats, they still come to us to this day. They're still clients of ours. And every once in a while, they'll mention about the one cat that went up in the ceiling for a week. But yeah, wholesome, funny, right? Not too terrible. Good start. It's a little far cry from the courier being in our storm drain.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny nonetheless. And oh my God, to like have to tell them how like the concept of how the cat was gonna go in the trash. Little painful.
That's not, I mean, yeah, it is wholesome. It is the thing that the South, I guess, would do.
Yeah. So I feel like from here it just goes all downhill. So I have a couple, right? I could tell you about the time I thought I was actually going to die. Like I thought someone was going to kill me at work. Want to do that one?
Okay.
We could do a little Twilight Zone, but a Groundhog Day. I called another one. I call it Groundhog Day because it was really, really weird. So I
Yeah,
probably
sure.
thought I was actually going to be murdered.
That's always murder ones always is good listening.
I can laugh about it now. At the time, I was terrified. So this was at the last practice I managed, and we had this incident one day where a former client came into our lobby, and I will use they pronouns because I don't want to incriminate anybody. But this client was pacing like frantically in and out of our lobby, like looking at stuff on the shelves and then going back outside and then coming in and going back out. And my staff was getting kind of concerned. So my head client service rep says to this client, "Hey, can I help you with something? Like, are you looking for something? Are you lost? Do you need help?" Right. We hadn't seen this client in a while. So it was just odd that they were in there because they weren't active. Like there were no active patients, right? And this client starts kind of talking like really fast, like really like gibberish, not making a lot of sense. And so my CSR started getting like really scared because of what was kind of coming out of this client's mouth. And my CSR like said, get Bethany, we need her here like now. So I was able to pull the client into an exam room. Thank goodness it was one of the exam rooms that we have like security cameras. At that time we had security cameras, and this was one of the rooms we had security cameras in, thank God. So if I was gonna get killed, it would be on well, this client starts talking to me about their dog and that they wanted their dog. Now, the problem was that this dog had been hit by a car 2 years prior, had been cremated, and this client had the ashes from the private cremation. And they were there today to get their dog. They were there that day and they were convinced that we still had their dog. They weren't totally sure if the dog was alive. It seemed like they were very confused. So obviously, I mean, I think this person was tripping balls on some like hard drugs, right? Like there's
Yeah,
probably a very big mental episode that was happening there,
of
but I
course.
some very heavy substance use that was happening as well. Because they weren't making a lot of sense. Not only were they saying weird things about like this dog that they thought that we still had, they were also talking about how they had to hurry up and go play a duet on the piano. Yeah. So I'm like, call the police, right? Like before I even really went in there, well, I went in there for a brief second and saw the frenetic pacing and was like, call the cops, right? So we need help with this. This isn't something that I'm going to be able to manage on my own.
Yeah.
So of course I bring out their records, right? I'm showing like the cremation history. We have the receipts and they are not accepting it, right? It's like, I want my dog back. I know you have them. I don't know where they are, but I know you have them. Or if they're in the freezer, I want them back. If they're if they're in the back of the clinic, I want them back. And we haven't had this dog in 2 years. Cops get here. And they're taking their sweet old time. And as this client's doing this, they had their hand in like a bag, right? Like in the
Yeah.
back the whole time. Like they're holding on to something, right? Like, I don't know if it's a knife. I don't know if it's a gun. I don't know if it's a more of those drugs that they were on. but they are holding, like clutching onto something. And I mean, the way that they were talking, and then they would come at me like this, right? They would like charge me almost like across the table and get really,
Yeah.
really close to my face. And I'm gonna die. Like this is it. This is, and I'm probably, I don't know, 30 or 31 years old. Like I'm gonna die. Like this is the day I'm gonna die. Finally, the cops come. It could not have taken them longer. They were like 2 miles away from the clinic. They get the client out and they ask me, and they're laughing about this. Like I'm telling them what's happening, and they are just thinking the cops are absolutely cracking up. Like, why do you think this is funny? Because I seriously saw my life flash before my eyes a few times, dealing with, the potential crack user that was just in my clinic raising hell for the past hour. And so they get them out and they ask me what I want to do. And like, I'm not pressing charges, right? I just want to see this person like get some medical attention. But I guess for whatever reason, they said they couldn't do it. They had no grounds for. I'm like, okay, so the person that's here looking for their deceased dog that died 2 years ago, like that's not weird enough for you to admit them to the hospital for a welfare check? It's like that. Well, how weird does it need to be to get admitted to the hospital? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
that's fucking weird, right? And no, they couldn't do anything about it, and they just let them go. They let them drive. They let them get into a vehicle, operate a vehicle, and drive away. Yeah. So that my staff had a great time with the video and audio clip of that from the surveillance for a long time. Pretty sure we saved somewhere. It's on a thumb drive somewhere in the universe. But yeah, I was like, I think it was like the peak of summer too, right? We're at a small little condensed clinic,
Yeah.
wetting bullets. And yeah, fun times.
I wonder if you could have a look at that video and use some of the AI programs that we have now and make it like into some sort of music dub that
Oh,
people would come up with these days. I wonder what kind of content that would create these days.
oh my God. I'm sure it's classic. Yeah, it was really scary at the time. But now I laugh about it, right? Because I lived and I didn't get stabbed or shot. So I guess it's a win.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my wife is the worst. She goes out jogging at night and she doesn't wear like the what do you call it, the fluorescence vest, or she has pepper spray, bear spray, nothing with headphones. Like you're nuts. You're nuts. But you know what? If you don't come back, I mean, I got the kids. That's fine. But
Is it though? Is it fine?
no, I mean, we always joke that she's going to do a Gone Girl on me. And I'm going to be fucking, I'm going to put her away. She's like, hey, keep going. One day I'm going to come back. You're not going to be home. I'm not going to be home. I'm like, yeah, just take one of the kids with you, the smallest one.
We'll split them. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we can do another weird one. We'll do another weird one.
Yeah, sure.
So
It'd be a
this
special.
kind of recently, I think it was probably about like 2 or 3 years ago. It was definitely during COVID that this happened. It was when we allowed people back in the building.
A little bit psycho because now I get to see people.
So then,
Be like,
oh my God, it's people! Oh my God, hey, everybody, get them out of here. So this definitely was when we were letting people back in the building again, and it was an elderly client. So this was an elderly client, and there's always big challenges with the elderly. We love them, and they make up such a huge part of our base. And we have to, kind of go through the end stage of life with them, same way that we kind of have to do with the patients, which is, it's kind of sad in that respect, but it's rewarding that we can, help them until, a lot of times we've had clients pass away and then, the dogs get passed on to family members, staff members, and all of that. So this was an incident that happened a couple years ago with one of our elderly clients that at the time we didn't realize how, obviously there's some dementia involved here, but we did not realize how severe it actually was until this day. So this client brought in her dog, little dog, right, for I believe it was a dental cleaning or like a dental prophylaxis. So we admit the patient in the morning. We do the dental procedure during the day, right, because they're under full anesthesia, and then they come and then the clients come back in the evening after the dog's had plenty of time to recover to pick them up. So the client came in, picked up the dog, went through the discharge. Nothing eventful of any note during the discharge appointment. She paid with a check because that's generally how they pay. But she wrote us a check, right, for the dental cleaning, took the dog and left the clinic, presumably went home. And then about an hour and a half or so later, she came back in the clinic, goes up to our greeter station. I'm here to pick up my dog. So that was strange, right? So we're like, oh boy, right? So of course, my CSRs are so delicate. Yeah, they're like my empaths of like the hospital, right? So they hear this and they're like, oh my God, like they have they don't have the training or the wherewithal to handle this.
Yeah.
On and straight for management. Like, what do we tell this? Like, so I think I'm pretty sure the greeter that was on knew that this woman had been in earlier to pick up her dog.
Yeah.
That's why she was like, oh boy, but just to be sure, because sometimes like the greeter doesn't see them check out, right? They're not checking out at the greeter.
Yeah.
Maybe she came in. So she goes back and there's this, whole, asking all the nurses, is the dog still here? Well, she's here to pick up. And the nurses are like, no, like we discharged this dog a couple hours ago. Like, no, like she was here. Like, who did the discharge? And they're looking for the nurse that did the discharge. Well, she had already clocked out, got home. So like, we're trying to piece this whole story together. And why is this client back here asking for her dog? So, she's sitting in the lobby for a while we're trying to figure out, is the dog still here? Right. Cause like we're big practice, we see like 200 patients a day. I mean, it could be still here. So once we determined, no, actually she did do the discharge and she paid with it. And we had to, politely, pull her into a room, you were just here like 2 hours ago and you already picked up your dog. And her reaction to that news was very alarming, right? Because she was very adamant. She had not been here. She had not picked up her dog. She was insistent that she had not. And then she was getting very panicked, right? Like she was kind of freaking out, like, did you lose my dog? Like that type of thing. Like, where's my animal? Right. And we're like, no, like you picked her up. We don't have at this practice that I'm in now, like we don't actually have security cameras in all places. We have them in certain places of the hospital. We just didn't have them in that area where she actually had the patient discharged in the door that she used.
Yeah.
So it's not like I could go and like replay footage for her. She wouldn't have been on there. Like we send in, so we have a couple of CSRs that had been around with our company for like 25 years that knew this woman very, very well. And we sent her in, right, to go and kind of comfort her and be like, try to get her to come around to it. And she was crying. I mean, obviously crying. She was very upset. She
Of
like
course.
wouldn't believe that she was there. I was like, oh my God, she paid with a check, right? So we're like digging through the drawer. We find the check, take it in the room. And I think once she saw the check, it like something registered, right? Like something registered in there earlier. And that's how she paid, right? Like that is from her book. We're like, do you have your checkbook on you? She pulled out her book. It was like, in sequential order, like it was the next.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. So we calmed her down. She went home and then we did a welfare check. We sent the police out to do a welfare check to make sure she got home. And when the police did go out there, they did call us back and they said, yep, she was there and the dog was there too. So apparently, somehow she did take the dog home. And then maybe the dog was just really groggy, didn't make a lot of noise, maybe went to sleep somewhere. And I don't know. Did she fall asleep? I don't know. Again, I don't know. But I call that like the Groundhog Day, right? Like we were like reliving it. She was adamant that she had not been at the clinic that day to get her dog. Yeah, weird, right?
So we're just taking a little glimpse of what our lives are going to be looking like in a couple of years. Well, not a couple of years, few years.
Put me out to pasture. I'm going to go to one of the states where euthanasia is and just, take a pill and go night night. I can't. If I ever lose my ability to reason, I think it's just put a fork in me. I'm done. Just put me in the ground.
Oh, look, you know what? I've already said that if anyone finds a euthanasia missing, you know where it's gone. This guy, you can blame my wife.
I don't know how long they last, but oh my God. Yeah. So little bit of a weird story, but it just, again, it's like the stuff that we encounter every day is it can be some Twilight Zone crap, I do have a funny one to end with if we have a couple more. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It is funny. I have to be very careful about this.
We'll change the names.
Don't want to incriminate anybody, so I'm going to be I would love to extrapolate more about this whole situation, but I have to I'm gonna keep it as confined as possible so you get the general idea without incriminating ourselves or anybody else. Here we go. Here we go. It's like one of the funniest things I feel like that I still laugh about to this day, and you'll hear about what. So we were interviewing a candidate for a higher level position in our organization, and we had some interviews with them. Nothing like no big red flags, like nothing really stood out. But you don't really know anybody until you have them in there working anyway. So what the hell, right? So we started talking about like negotiations, having them come on, and they kind of just wanted something too different from what everyone else had at our practice. And we just kind of decided that it wasn't going to be a good fit because, we need a lot of like uniformity. We have, just a certain standard of how we all practice. And I think this one just wanted to be too much of an individual. So, so it just, we started into negotiations, but we just were like, yeah, no, it's not going to work. And they kind of were on the same page. Okay. So a couple weeks go by, we get this letter in the mail, and there's no return address on the letter. And it was made out to one of the former owners of the business that had since retired, probably like a year or two prior to that. So we're like, well, this is suspicious. So we open up this letter, and it's handwritten. A handwritten letter on like
how long ago was this?
Pad.
How long ago was it? Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10?
Oh, it was a while. It was a while. It's been a while. And basically this letter detailed.
Oh, hang on. Before you go on.
Yeah.
Is it cursive or is it
print.
Normal?
It was print. It was like
print. Disappointed. Right. If you're gonna do it, give me some cursive. Give me some love.
My staff wouldn't be able to read it, so I'm kind of, I kind of went through 125. They're like, what is that? No, it was printed, handwritten on like a legal notepad, and it basically detailed a very, very salacious, intimate relationship that candidate that had previously interviewed like weeks prior, that we all kind of collectively agreed that was not that wasn't direction we were going to go. Just like outed this person and this person's very scandalous, dark sexual life.
So hang on. Whoa, time out. Okay. So this candidate's come in for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the interview, say obviously didn't get it. 3 weeks later, sends a letter.
So who this letter is from? This letter was anonymous.
Oh, it's an anonymous letter. Okay.
Anonymous tip, and they claimed to be friends of this candidate, and basically detailed some very, very dark, disturbing, intimate details about this person's sexual life.
On a scale of shades, how gray are we?
Oh, we're pretty gray. We're still gray. Really, really gray. We're almost black.
We're almost black. Nice.
So it's like the literal definition of blackmail, right? Like that is what blackmail is. But I mean, so obviously, so think about this, right? So this must have been a actual friend or contact of this person to know that they had been interviewing. No, I'm sure they had been interviewing locally at a bunch of different places, but like knew specifically that they had come and interviewed with us, but didn't know that at this point, I mean, this was weeks later, like we had all just, shook hands and parted ways and like, no, I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for something different. And we're looking indifferent, but we still got his letter nonetheless. So like they must have had this communication, and then whoever this person was wanted to make sure that this person like that we knew a very bad part. Like, I don't know. Again, like, obviously, this has nothing to do with employment, right? Like, but the scandal of like the whole situation was just jaw dropping that like somebody's friends would do this to them. Don't trust your friends.
But what was like? What was okay? So we've already divulged this intimate secret of I assume a partner being, let's pretend it's a doctor. Was there any? If I don't, was there a ransom note attached to it? Was there? Oh,
No, there wasn't like it wasn't like blocked letters from a magazine or anything. It was basically like we want you to know about this person's reputation, like that type of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if it was like a scorned lover that sent it to.
so this is not connected. You don't know if it's connected.
I don't know. We have no idea where this letter came from. It was just about this person that we interviewed and their very scandalous, salacious sex life. We still have the letter to this day because like Lord Byron wrote this letter. I mean, like the language in this it's so descriptive and absolutely it's hysterically funny to read it. I mean, how like in detail, it's very, very descriptive. Put it that way.
Wow, wow, shots fired. So what did I guess
We
the
just
past partner?
we just kept that letter. We just have it. It's like in our like our favorite things binder that we still like still
Does
never throw away. Because if you're having a really bad day, you can just read it.
does your previous partner know about this letter?
No, I don't think he does because he wasn't one of the owners at the time. It's just the current partners read it. Yeah, but it was addressed to him. But he had retired. I mean, he wasn't even there anymore. Yeah, he had retired. He wasn't like practicing at all. So whoever made the letter out, like again, I don't know if they like I don't know how they looked up who the owners would be because again, like we don't like publicly advertise. It's a privately owned company or it's privately owned. So I
Yeah.
don't know how they would have known to address it to that former owner or who knows? Who knows?
Wow. So it
Right?
still remains an unsolved mystery to this
It's
day.
full mystery of who wrote the letter about this candidate's sex life.
No. Well, I wonder. Here's just a theory, Bethany. If we can take that letter, turn it into a movie script, we can certainly do something about it, monetize it or something.
Yes, that'll be my retirement plan. Oh,
Wow. And we can cast Johnny Sin
with
and we can cast Johnny Sins and maybe we bring Mia Khalifa out of retirement. We could do a lot of things.
it's like literary gold, though. I mean, I'll never throw this letter away because, again, it's just jaw dropping, and I mean, the way that it was so descriptive, you just die. You just absolutely die when you read it. So
Awesome.
you're into that shit. You're into that shit. Good for you, but just don't trust your friends if you're going for it.
No, I haven't dungeon for that very reason.
My God.
Bethany, that was awesome. It's always great speaking with you, Bethany. Thank you so much for sharing your stories today. Where can people find you?
Where online or in my practice or where?
Wherever you want me to send
And people,
anybody. Send people. Where can we read
well,
read this letter? Is it on the wall in some museum?
but yeah, you could send whatever. My social media account is definitely for my friends, but I'm on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Definitely on LinkedIn. I do invite people into my social media life, but like I said, it's definitely like you see a lot. Like I said, I'm not as bad as somebody writing a 50 Shades of Grey letter about me yet, but I'm not going to say it never
That we
happened.
know of.
I'm not going to take it off of the list of impossibilities. I have a lot of fun.
Oh, shit. Lovely. Okay. Look, again, thank you so much for your stories today. We'll put the links in the show notes where people can find you. As always, Bethany, lovely to have seen you and speaking to you today. I will see you at the
Management exchange?
Vegas.
No, are you going to Nashville?
No, what's in Nashville? Oh, for Veg May? No.
Management exchange in Nashville, February like 19th.
No, I'm in Vegas the week after. So I've got some vet partners in Western.
Okay. Well, have fun in Vegas,
Yep.
Nashville.
Won't be the same without you.
Partying with you. it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's always a good time. But we're gonna end up going out line dancing. It's probably one thing that I still need to do.
Oh God, I have 2 left feet, but I'll go. I'll definitely go.
Lovely. Thanks, man.
Bye. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us today. That's all we have time for. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a story that you'd love to share and want to come on the show, drop me an email, rhys@ivmsolutions.org. This podcast was brought to you by IVMS, Innovative Veterinary Management Solutions. If you are tired of being a business operator and want to be a business owner, then give me a call. If you've heard of systems like Traction, EOS, Lean, 4DX, and other similar systems, they're all great systems, but none of them are vet specific. I have taken the best of every system, rebuilt them using our industry KPI standards and your practice core metrics, because every practice is different. I will bring your vision to life, get your team brought in and aligned to your long-term goals. I will systemize your practice so you can have more time doing what you love to do. Stop having people rely on you. Practice ownership should not be this hard. Let's move from being a business operator and move into the business owner category. If that interests you, go to our website, www.ivmsolutions.org. That is I for India, V for vet, M for management, solutions.org. Until next time, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.